Welcome, Defenders, to another episode of the Defender Fitness Alliance show. First and foremost, thank you guys again for being part of the Alliance. I know we've been out for a couple months, but we're starting this back up where we're bringing in our members in the Defender Fitness Alliance, just sharing their story, their service, and their transition, and how health and fitness has been a vital part of their lives. All right, guys. So with that being said, I have a very special guest with me this evening. She is an Army Reserve. She's been in the Army Reserves for 23 years, 6 years active. She is also a registered nurse, health educator, wellness coach, personal trainer, doing all kinds of things. She also has a business called Eat Colorful. You can find more about that on eatcolorful.com. I have the pleasure of introducing JoAnn Barmettler. JoAnn, welcome to the show. Let's start off by first telling us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to now.
Well, I am married to an amazing man, my husband, Tim. We've been together for, a little over 30 years. We have two grown children, Andrew and Mikkel, and we are all very passionate about health and prevention. After I struggled with my health 14 years ago, and as a nurse, I looked to the medical community to help me with that process. But as all I got was about 15 pills later, and it's not something that was in my line that I really wanted to take. So I started searching other options out there and really researched the heck out of everything and came to the point that we can heal our bodies through whole food nutrition, holistic options. And so that was our journey. It changed both my husband and my life, changed my family's life, and many friends and a lot of people around us. So it was a great change for all of us. And so currently I'm actually at Fort Knox, Kentucky on a mobilization. I work in the special compensations branch here. I love it. My passion is, I left the Army for 15 years and then came back after my kids were grown. Probably a little crazy, I don't know. But my passion is really to serve soldiers. I was serving already retired veterans on the outside, through home care and hospice. And my passion really became as I started seeing younger and younger hospice patients, and that really broke my heart. So I really wanted to get back in and serve soldiers any way that I could. And this was a great opportunity for me. And actually being here at Fort Knox has opened up a lot of options and opportunities to speak with soldiers on all levels about prevention and good nutrition. So that's what we're up to.
Awesome. So, just going over your list of titles, what would you say would you are you mainly focusing more on now? Is that more of awareness and prevention, educating the soldiers and those around you? What's the main thing that you would say that you're more focused on now?
I would say the title of the certified health educator. I believe that when we empower people with knowledge, they can go and do great things with. Some people just don't know where to start. I've had several classes here on educating soldiers on holistic food nutrition, and that it's not always whole food isn't in a box. And so, but really teaching them to look at things such as labels, how much sugar they're consuming, what kind of things they're consuming, and that energy drinks would be like cookies. They would be a treat. You only have it every once in a while. And because they may not have any symptoms going on, they think that, continuing to eat it the way they do is okay. And they're like, well, yeah, but I work out all the time. Yeah, but you can't work out. You can't work off a bad diet. And so that will eventually catch up with you. And it's really been good to see soldiers say, like, really, that's true. And I use a lot of props. I get them engaged in the education wellness events. And they're really shocked when I present the research and the facts to them about some of the things that they're consuming, like they had not a clue. And I mean, perfect example, I had a very fit colonel come up to me and awesome. I mean, awesome guy, but he was like, well, this is what I consumed for lunch today. What would you say about this? And after we calculated his whole lunch out, it was like about 80 teaspoons of sugar in it. He didn't have a clue. He
Right.
thought what was healthy was healthy, you know? But it's the misconception that, well, I work out every day, man, look at me, I look good. Well, that's on the outside. What's really going on the inside? So,
And I think that's key. You kind of hit it right on the point. It's more of what's they're taking in, as far as fuel for their bodies, instead of they should be more focusing on what they take in instead of how they look and all that. Because just because you look good doesn't mean you're completely
good for
healthy,
you.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really learned that my mobilization to Landstuhl, Germany in 2015. It was, my eyes were opened about a lot of things. I already knew that the supplement industry, we all know it's not regulated. And so I always tell people research what you're taking. Make sure there's research to back it up of what you're putting in your body. Your body's very precious. It's the only one you have. You got to take care of it. But the army or the military created a new diagnosis called supplement induced syndrome. And it was soldiers coming from downrange, and with no other pathological reason or medical reason of why they were experiencing a heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, heart failure, liver failure, except for the supplements that they were taking. That's the only thing that they could point it to. And it really became a big thing. I mean, there was probably 4 or 5 soldiers a week that they were, flying into Landstuhl for us to take care of because of the supplement-induced syndrome. And it became where they started banning certain drinks on all military flights because of the concern of that when you're in the air, you're drinking all these caffeinated drinks, you don't realize how much it is, and then you might have coffee with it, and then you go to fly, well, it's pressure. People were having stroke mid-air flight. So it really became an eye-opener for, I think, the whole military.
So in your years of educating soldiers as far as like health and wellness and fitness, what's been the worst moment you've experienced? I know you talked about some scenarios, but what's been the worst moment you've experienced in educating soldiers?
Honestly, it's seen soldiers be disabled at a very young age due to diet and lifestyle. And that was very hard for me. Very young soldiers getting diagnosed with diseases, cancers, all different kinds of diseases that as a medical professional, I didn't see those young people being diagnosed with those type of disease processes back in the 90s when I first went to nursing school.
Yeah.
So that's heartbreaking for me. So that means we've got to do a better job in the education. Our whole food supply has changed. And so we just have to do a better job in education.
And in talking about your worst moments, but what's been the best moment so far in your education with soldiers?
Um, so I got an email a couple of months ago from a soldier I met overseas in Germany, and he was telling me he lost my card. He was so bummed. He wanted to reach out to me, but it's people like him, just in our conversations and education. He said, "I just want to thank you for really saving my life." He says, "My whole life and health has changed since I met you." And that's the greatest reward I could ever get, is to hear people that their life has changed, their health has changed, and now they have hope that they didn't have before. So that's awesome.
Man, that must feel great. I mean, knowing that you made a difference in someone's life, and that's what we're all about in the Defender Fitness Alliance. All we want to do is change people's lives for the better, and I mean that's an awesome feeling, Joanne. Um,
That it
so
is.
so what's one thing that you can give to our audience? What's one advice that you can give them, and maybe starting with the type of business that you have, as far as like, can you talk more about your Eat Colorful business?
My Eat Colorful business, I offer a wide variety of services, consultation. I will actually, if they're close to me, I will actually go to people's homes and take them through their whole entire pantry and just talk about the things that they have in their pantry. I will educate them, but not only them, but their kids. If they have kids, I prefer their kids are there. Their kids need to learn too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an advocate for a whole food supplement that I provide, and it's just fruits, vegetables, and berries. We need to get back to the basics of whole food. And so I also will offer them it depends on what they're looking for and what their goals are. I do train some people right now. That's not my number one focus because I focus more on the nutrition part, and I can do that as a certified health educator. There's those gray area lines when you're a physical trainer and talking to your patients about recommendations and things like that. Or I say patients because I'm a nurse, but
Right.
but so yeah, I mean it's just really getting the family engaged into a whole food diet and exercise. And there's so many easy ways to really get out and exercise and get down and play with your grandkids or your kids and make it a whole family affair or whatever it is, and just really living your passion. So it's just trying to. Some people are so you know, down on themselves or too hard on themselves, or they're got a little depression going on. I have a certification actually in hormones. I talk to people a lot about hormones. Hormones play a lot in how we feel and how our body functions. And I've had I've had some people on service that have done all the right things and they weren't losing any weight. And we went through their diet and everything. And I just said, okay, now we need to check your hormones, okay? And then find out their hormones were really off and imbalanced. And that makes a difference in how people will look and feel overall. So it all ties in together. It's a holistic approach.
So going back to like you said earlier, how you help families as far as like what type of foods that they should be buying and what they should be consuming. What's one advice for maybe someone that's listening? Like, what's like a basic thing that they can do to take that step into the right direction as far as like nutrition wise?
Well, I think a lot of us have already heard the biggest one is always shop the perimeter at the grocery store. Um, you notice how there's no labels on your fruits and vegetables and berries when you go to the store. So you don't have to sit there and look at a label because you already know what's in that. So when you're looking at anything that's in a box, when there's an ingredient list like this long, you want to stay away from things like that. And a good example is like peanut butter. Um, People don't realize it should just be peanuts or peanuts and salt. And I think Smucker's is probably one of the very few out there that I've ever found that says Smucker's and salt or peanuts and salt. If you look at all the other ones, they have like probably 2 or 3 lines of ingredients. Well, that's not even whole food. So that's a perfect example. You got to get back to the whole food part of it. And so just adding one simple change to your diet. So if you're not a veggie eater, then just try and add a vegetable once a day to your diet every single day. And we know that change will come with over time. But if you just do that one change a month, and then by the end of the year you've already made 12 changes, that will be significant for your health.
So I want to get your take on this. Cereals. I know there's been a lot of like controversy. I mean, growing up in the 90s, like that was like kind of the thing for most kids, right? The parents would just feed them cereals in the morning. But learning from the recent past is actually not good for you, right? So can you tell us a little bit more about cereals and why we should steer away from that?
So as trainers, everybody talks about your macros and micros, right? Well, cereals don't offer really either of the above. How about that? They're loaded with sugar. And the problem is that we have celebrities doing commercials for cereal. And so what do the kids want? They see their favorite celebrity or favorite football star, advertising the Wheaties or whatever it is. they want that because then they think it's good for them. But there's actually no nutritional value in a lot of the cereals that are out there. So if you were going to pick a cereal, and it's not a cereal, I would say oatmeal. Have the good old-fashioned cooked oats, and then load it up with good nutrition. You can put a scoop of your protein powder in there, put some berries in there, put some walnuts in there, and you can feed that to your kids.
Yeah.
That's a whole meal for your kids because it has everything that it needs. And when you think about think about your vehicle. You're not going to go to the gas station. You're not going to water down your gas to save money because you know it'll run, it'll putter, whatever. It won't run right. And so same thing for our kids. When you're feeding them just cereal in the morning, think about how you're sending them to school. They've got to go to school and try and focus all day long. And you need to send them with what's really going to work for their brain. And that's a whole food, nutritious breakfast. And cereal is just really not one of those.
Awesome, Joanne. Thank you for all the knowledge you've been dropping, guys. If you're listening, go ahead and drop a like, comment. I just want to point out some of our viewers here. Richard, David, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being part of the alliance. Joanne, one final question. What's one internet resource that our listeners can use in regards to, helping them get into that the right direction and to a better and healthier life?
I always say, for me, I think it's important. Find a mentor, find somebody that you trust. And I do like YouTube because a lot of my mentors and the people that I follow and like are on YouTube.
Right.
And so, but make sure that it's valid information too. I mean, anybody can put a YouTube video up there, but you want to just make sure that you're getting the truth. I'm a big researcher, so people who know me, they'll come to me and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I will research it. I'll say, I'll tell you right now what I think about that. I've researched that, and I can point you in this direction. I do like YouTube. I think it's a great opportunity to learn a lot of different things, especially something you're not well versed in. But find a good mentor you trust, and then ask them who do they follow, what do they read, what do they stick to for articles and things like that.
Yeah, that's a great point for those of you guys that are listening. The information is out there for anybody to look at. Like Joanne was saying, you can YouTube. You can just ask Google anything nowadays, and it'll show up in a second, because everybody wants it now, or everybody wants it instantly, right? But like Joanne was saying as well, just make sure you guys know who you're listening to, and like she said, doing your own research. Are they credible sources? Is this just from some .com website that some person wrote about? So just be aware of that. Anything else, Joanne, that you can add as far as like resources?
I really say anything that you can see about, if you Google whole food nutrition, you're going to get a ton of articles and things that come up. And paleo diet has kind of moved that. Paleo diet is kind of more of it's a whole food diet. I don't like the word diet because the first three letters are die, so that's just out for me. But it's just, if you Google articles of whole food nutrition, you're going to find a ton of the stuff that's real good stuff and backed by research on the internet. And we all know the basics. Whether you're a believer or not, but God created the garden first, plant food. But so we know that basic, that we have to get more fruits and vegetables. Our parents told us that growing up. I'm sure that you were used to that culture from the Philippines, a lot of plant foods and things like that. So it's important. It's getting back to the basics.
All right. Got a question here from Jesse Calver. Any specific you follow? I guess referring to YouTube, or anybody specifically you follow in regards to nutrition?
I like to follow Pam Popper. I like to follow Caldwell Esselstyn. Dr. McDonald, I think his first name is Josh McDonald. Gosh, I follow a lot. Uh, got I follow quite a bit. So, but if you want to email me, I will give you my whole list of who I follow. And my email is the same as my website. It's ecolorful@gmail.com. But you can follow me at or find me at ecolorful.com and I'll respond. But yeah, I mean, and if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to email me. I'm happy to do research for you, or I have been studying nutrition for a very, very long time. So, and I'm very passionate about helping other people.
Awesome. Thank you, Joanne. And we'll mention that email later on as well before we end the show. But like Joanne said, just reach out to the group or just tag her on your post, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to help you out. All right. So, Joanne, coming to the last portion of our interview, this is where I ask 5 fitness facts of, well, you, Joanne. All
Okay.
right. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Joanne. So, first question, what's your favorite workout?
Bikram yoga. And I know y'all are going to think I'm crazy and maybe a wuss or something. I don't know, because it's an hour and a half in 105 degrees.
Yeah.
And you sweat, but it really challenges you to focus, and it really will tell you where you're at on your balance. So, and you build muscles, believe it or not, you tone, you strengthen, you lengthen. It's amazing. So it'll really help you find your focus.
How often do you do Bikram yoga?
I try and do it at least once a week. Since I've
Once a
moved to
week.
Kentucky, I've had a hard time finding a place that does Bikram. It's a little bit of a drive for me.
Okay.
I used to do it 3 to 4 times a week when I was back home. So
That's awesome.
I love it.
Okay. So, next question, what's your least favorite workout?
Anything with burpees?
You were just doing like 50 of them a day,
I
right?
know, and I hated you every day for that. No. I was like, why did I let this guy talk me? And you didn't talk me into it. But I have a problem with saying no to a challenge. I love
Hey,
challenges, so.
well, thank you for accepting the challenge. For those of you guys don't know, August was it Health and Wellness Awareness
National
Month?
Wellness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for the month, I was doing 50 burpees a day, and Joanne was one of the few that took me on the challenge. So appreciate that, Joanne.
Well, a lot of people say if you just do 20 burpees a day, you'll stay in shape. So I really believe that. So
So 50, you're good.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Next question. If you had to choose one person you could train with, who would it be and why?
So I didn't even know that this guy was real until I went to Europe 2015. Joe Wicks. And so he's from Great Britain. He's a personal trainer over there. Look him up. I like his workouts. He has some workout videos. And I my massage therapist over there was this very fit, very fit and toned guy, and really built. Also a physical fitness trainer. But he actually told me about Joe Wicks. He goes like, look him up, and I did, and he has the coolest hair too. So
Jo- you said Joe Wick, like John Wick?
Joe Wicks, W
Oh,
I C K S.
with an
Yeah,
S. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
He's from Great Britain, so look him up.
So does he have a like a YouTube channel or?
He does. He does.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. All right. Next question. What's recommend a book for our listeners to read?
Ah, I got a great one for you. You're a badass.
You're a badass. Who's
That's the name of the book. You are a
okay.
badass. I
And
think it's great for people, depending on where you're at in your business. Some people can start a business, get a little stuck, don't know what's going on, can't pinpoint it. And I read that book very early on, and it's by Jen Spencer. But it's a great book just to kind of see where you're going and just reignite your passion if you need that. Sometimes we tend to doubt ourselves, but it just reminds
yeah,
you how awesome you really are. So
awesome. Well, you're a badass by Jen
yeah, Jen Spencer.
Spencer. Okay. Tell us your favorite quote and why.
Health is not valued, or I have two, sorry. Health is not valued until sickness comes. And my other one is, if you don't take care of your body, where will you live?
Mm.
And my favorite, that I actually found those quotes when I was dealing with my own sickness. And the one about if you don't take care of your body, where will you live? It's true. You only get one body. And if that body breaks down, it's a lot harder to reverse disease than it is to prevent disease.
Right.
And it's a lot cheaper to prevent disease than it is to treat disease.
Health is not valued until your sickness, you said?
Until sickness comes.
Until sickness comes, and if you don't take care of your body, where will you live?
Yes.
Awesome quotes, Joanne. So one final question for you before we leave here. Where can our listeners connect with you?
Eatcolorful.com, and my email is eatcolorful@gmail.com, and my Facebook is Eat Colorful. You can find me there too.
Awesome. I got one final question.
Well, I thought that was the final. Wait.
Yeah. So Joanne, how can I further help you?
You can find me a guy or gal who does social media. Hey, you asked the question. I'm giving you the answer.
A guy
And
that does social media?
yeah, social media and I am not an IT person. I would love some help with my blog, my website. That itself, I know I need to do it, but it's not my passion. Does that make sense? And I might be robbing somebody else of their passion to do all that stuff. So if
Okay.
they want a little side job and but I think that for reference, that would be great to have bring a social media person on to
Okay.
help with all that. So
Awesome. I'll see what I can do as far as like social media management. Try to bring that into the group.
yeah, that social
Um,
media, blog, website stuff, all that combined, whatever that stuff
yeah,
is.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that because with me, both of us, we have our service and then we have our business. It can be a toll at times. Trying to prioritize what's important, but obviously the service is first and foremost comes first above the business. But
Right.
that's something that we can all kind of use somebody that can manage our social media and help us out with our business. But well, Joanne, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story and for all the knowledge that you've dropped on this show. Um, Again, guys, if you need to reach out to Joanne for any nutrition or health wellness questions, make sure you guys tag her on your post on the group or just send her an email at eatcolorful@gmail.com. All right, guys. Well, that's our show for this evening. Joanne, thank you again for joining.